Uh, in this video, I'm going to be talking about what is a bootloader. This is what ChatGPT says a bootloader is. A bootloader is a program that is responsible for loading and initializing the operating system or other blah, 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 blah. There's ChatGPT's wrong answer. What really is a bootloader? A bootloader is a piece of software that the firmware, BIOS, or UEFI is responsible for loading the kernel with the wanted kernel parameters or any external intermaps images. Don't know what that is, but okay. A bootloader, also spelled as bootloader or called a boot manager or bootstrap loader, is a computer program that is responsible for booting the computer. The bootloader is the menu that boots up when you first turn on your PC. It shows the little OS that you can boot into, and it will boot you into. A bootloader is what reads the boot file. So, to my understanding, a bootloader, when you start the computer and when you shut down your computer and you press the on button and then you hammer the F12 button, it takes you into the bootloader. That's the little program. That's the little screen that gives you all the operating systems that you can boot into. So there you go. Why does the bootloader exist? When a computer is turned off, its software, including operating systems, application code, and data, remains stored on non-volatile memory. When the computer is powered on, it typically does not have an operating system or its bootloader in random access memory (RAM). The computer first executes a relatively small program stored in the read-only memory (ROM) and later EEPROM (NRO) flash, along with some needed data to initialize RAM, especially in x86 systems, to access the non-volatile device, usually block device such as NAND flash, or devices from which the operating system programs data and can be loaded into RAM. Data of an operating system must be loaded into the working memory during device startup. This is made possible by a so-called bootloader, also known as a boot program or bootstrap loader. For this purpose, immediately after the device starts, a bootloader is generally launched by a bootable medium like a hard drive, CD, DVD, or USB stick. The boot medium receives information from the computer's firmware about where the bootloader is, and the whole process is called booting. Where does the term bootloader come from? The term bootloader is a shortened form of the words bootstrap loader. The term stems from the fact that the boot manager is a key component in starting the computer, so it can be likened to support of the bootstrap when putting a boot on. What role do bootloaders serve? Bootloaders serve as a mediator between software and the operating system. As soon as a bootloader has been initialized by the respective firmware, it has system responsibility to get that boot process going. So that is what a bootloader is.